Hello everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Dr. Katie Benson and welcome to another episode of Just What the Doctor Ordered. So today I'm going to be doing spaghetti squash spaghetti, and this is a great dish. It's going to be grain-free, gluten-free, and it's actually going to be meat-free too, but it absolutely has tons of flavor and it's amazing. So I'm actually going to get started with the homemade pasta sauce. And in this first pan here, I'm going to get going with just some vegetables that's actually going to make up some of the base of our sauce here. So I'm going to start off with a few cloves of garlic. I'm actually doing about 3 cloves of garlic here. And garlic is great for you. I try to add it to as many dishes as I can. Not only does it give you good flavor, but it also is great, has great antibacterial properties, antiviral, and it's also just a great superfood too. So I'm just gonna chop up some garlic here. Good. It doesn't have to be real finely chopped. And then in the pan that I'm gonna cook that in, I'm gonna add some coconut oil. And coconut oil is probably one of the best oils to use when it comes to cooking at high heats. It's actually better to use than olive oil. So I'll just start off with like about a tablespoon of coconut oil in that dish there. And then to that, I'm gonna add my chopped up garlic. Good. And then the next thing we're gonna do is slice up some mushrooms. This is gonna kind of be like our meat alternative in the dish. Instead of using like ground beef or meatballs, you can actually use the mushrooms. And I just roughly chop them. That's gonna kind of give this spaghetti some heartiness here. And I'm just doing a whole container of organic mushrooms. That's all that I'm putting in there right now. Perfect, and that smells really good. Has great garlic smell in there, so I'm just gonna get that going. Great. And then to that I'm gonna add just a few more vegetables. One's gonna be an heirloom tomato, also in season along with the spaghetti squash. Heirloom tomatoes are probably in everybody's garden right now. Same thing with that too, I'm just gonna really chop that. Not too fine. This is what's going to give our sauce some texture here. And then I'm just going to put that right on into this too. Good. Just let that cook. And then the last 2 things I'm going to add in there is going to be peppers, a green pepper, and then just another variety of pepper, just to give it some good flavor too. I'm just going to put seeds and all in there, with both these. And we got one more thing here. And you could pretty much put any type of pepper in. I mean, if you like red peppers, you could put red peppers. If you want a little bit more spicy, you could put any type of pepper really in there. I'm just going to give that a stir real quick. That looks really good. And then the last thing I'm going to make before I go to the spaghetti squash is actually the pasta sauce base. And I always try to get pasta sauce. This is organic strained tomatoes, but it's in a glass jar. And that's real important because a lot of the aluminum cans, they're loaded with a chemical called BPA, which is also found in plastic bottles, and it's been shown to increase breast cancer rates as well as other problems too. So that's strained tomatoes, and then also a can of organic tomato paste, just to also thicken up the sauce there too. And you could get your own pasta sauce too. You can buy it at the store. I just make sure that you read the labels because a lot of pasta sauces are loaded with sugars or flavoring, so it's actually pretty easy to make your own here. Stir that real good, and then we're gonna flavor that sauce too. So what we're gonna flavor that sauce with is gonna be some oregano, about a teaspoon of oregano in there, a teaspoon of basil, and then a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. And then I'm also gonna put some fresh ground sea salt right in there too. Pepper actually. And then you can add sea salt to taste, just depending on how salty your pasta sauce is with that too. And the last thing I'm gonna put right into my sauce too is just a little bit of Parmesan cheese, just to also give it some flavor. Good. And I'm gonna go ahead and stir that up. And then once these vegetables are getting close to being done, you know, you just kind of want them tender. They can still be crunchy. That'll actually be good. And I'm just going to transfer those right into the sauce also. Great. I'll just stir this in here. If you can get a close up on that sauce there, but it looks amazing. You know, it's nice and hearty, great amount of vegetables in there. It's gonna go wonderful over our spaghetti squash. So we're just gonna let that cook there for a little bit longer, get all those flavors marinating. And then the last thing I wanna show you how to do here is the spaghetti squash. So that's what we have here. How you prepare the spaghetti squash is you just put it in the oven. You bake it whole, as the whole squash. You just put it in a casserole dish with a little bit of water, and then bake it for at 350 for about an hour. And we know it's done when you can actually kind of shove a knife through it or a fork and it's nice and soft. Then you're just gonna have it, scoop out all the seeds, and then the outer part is what is like the spaghetti. And so you just go ahead and scoop that out, and I'll show you what that looks like here. I'm just gonna put this in another dish here too. Just kind of heat it up just a little bit. And like I said, you just kind of want to scoop that out the middle here as the spaghetti squash. And just goes right in there. And the more done it is, the easier it is to scoop out. Like this squash could have really been done, cooked for about another, I'd say 20 minutes. But you can see how it comes out stringy just like spaghetti. And this is an amazing alternative, especially if you're trying to go grain-free or gluten-free. You can still enjoy things like spaghetti, you just have to, modify it with the squash. Do the second one here. And this is in season right now. This is in everybody's garden. This actually came, right out of my mom's garden. And a lot of people don't know how to use spaghetti squash, but it's really great when you actually start cooking with it. Good. Like I said, we're just gonna warm that up just a little bit, and then I'm gonna turn that down to low, both these dishes. And then I'm just gonna finish them both off with a little bit of olive oil. And olive oil is great, especially for Italian cooking. But one thing you want to know about olive oil is that you do not want it to heat up past 120 degrees. You don't want it to start smoking, or it actually turns rancid. So I'll just put a little bit of that olive oil over the spaghetti squash, and I'm also just going to add a little bit of it to my pasta sauce, just to give it a little bit more flavor. And then to my spaghetti squash, I'm just going to salt it with some Celtic sea salt. And then the last thing is just put a little bit of fresh ground pepper over top of it. And then we're gonna go ahead and plate it up. And so, like I said, it's real easy to cook this dish here. We're just gonna put a little bit of the spaghetti squash right in here. Good. And then we're gonna top it right on top with the pasta sauce. One more little dip here. And then we're just gonna top that with just a little bit more of the Parmesan cheese. Good. And you can see that this looks amazing. Smells amazing, and you know, it's gonna be a favorite, especially, you know, if you love spaghetti, you're gonna love the spaghetti squash spaghetti. And then it's really kind of guilt-free because you don't have all the carbs, all the processed grains, you know, from the pasta noodles too. And then if you like this recipe, there's also other great recipes in our Maximize Living Nutrition book. There is a roasted vegetable lasagna that's very similar, and so I definitely encourage you to look through the book. There's also tons of great recipes there too. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next episode. Have a great day.